allegiance. Harry, would you like to start?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The announcements, Brian will have the announcements in his general manager's report, and now we will have approval of the board meeting minutes.
I so move that we approve the board meeting minutes of MLCC board meeting of October 30th, 2021, executive session minutes of October 5th, 2021, October 11th, 2021, October 14th, 2021, October 26th, 2021, and October 29th, 2021.
I second that.
Bill second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed.
We have two comments. Wendy Scott regarding adopt a whole.
I can sit back here, right?
Or you can use the podium, your choice.
Oh, I don't. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we're streaming.
It's okay.
Turn it on.
Hello there. I just wanted to say this is the second year that I know of that we've been doing the Adopt a Whole, and it is kind of amazing to me how much time it actually takes for those people who have their designated holes to go out there and fill in divots that us golfers do not fill in, sanding, checking for weeds or other things that are coming up. And so I just wanted to thank you for putting that adopt a whole thing together. I know Tom has gone out twice this week and he spends like 2 hours just going up and down checking for divots.
Yeah, he's just slow. He's real slow.
I knew there was a reason. Well, the thing is, it cuts into his time on the driving range. So if you don't see him out there on the driving range, it's because he's busy filling in our divots.
Thank you, Wendy, and actually we need to thank the Green Committee. I think Jack Peterson and Walt Luce, who were the people that put that program together. The board would like to take the credit, but it was those gentlemen in the Green Committee that did that. We have an email comment. It's from Ken Lemke. Why not have an F&B committee? There are members who have restaurant experience and may be able to extend their experience or expertise to improve the department. Thank you, Ken, for your comments. We do have one more, and it's Rick Ketchum on the 22 budget.
Yes. All right. Having served.
Everybody can see you. They made me do that. I turned it on.
Okay. Having served as your treasurer in the past, I have some complete knowledge of the budgeting process, how it works, and where our monies and such go. Tried to get together with Bill at a couple of times, but we just weren't able to work it out. So here's the issue that I hope that we can resolve in some way, that we're double dipping on the members The members are paying twice for our bad debt, and I'll explain. As it is right now, we have a line item on the expense side of our operating budget for bad debt. This is for the deadbeats, we're taxing all the rest of the members to cover the expense of the deadbeats who aren't paying their dues. So that is an expense line item. However, what we are not doing is when we do collect the monies from the deadbeats, we're not crediting it back to the operating budget so that the members get their money back, in essence. So my argument was that we should have, if we have an expense line for the bad debt, we should also have an income line for bad debt collected. Now, my understanding is that there is issues with proper accounting practices with that. And if that be the case, and I do know we do need to keep track of our bad debt and we do need to have a collection process, but if that is the proper way to do it as far as accounting reasons go, then I would suggest that we eliminate the bad debt expense line and just keep everything of that separate. So you have your bad debt and your bad debt collections handled through, it could be on the liabilities, assets and liabilities or what have you. It does not need to be part of our operating budget. So I would implore upon the board to look into eliminating the bad debt line from the budget if we are not going to have an income line for bad debts collected. That's it.
Thank you, Rick.
Sure. You just pull up that email.
Oh.
Brian will respond right now.
So we did have a finance committee meeting, and we did have a professional opinion letter from our auditor, Gary Dack. He is their engaged CPA, and I'll pull up that letter again just so we can reread it. The issue we have is we can't count the income twice. We can account for the dues when we do the operating budget, and those stay open until we collect, and it might be a couple years later. So let's see here. Let me find the auditor's letter, and I can make copies for it after the meeting if anybody'd like to read it.
Okay, I understand that point of view, but here's a practical question. So we have somebody who didn't pay dues in 2019, 2020, and 2021.
Correct.
So let's say we collect the entire amount in 2021. Currently, you take all of that money and put it into the current operating budget.
Right.
But the proper way to do it would be, according to what he's saying, you need to reopen the audited 2019 finals and financials and the 2020 financials and put the money back in there if you're saying you're collecting it twice. You're not. It was shortfall in that year, and we made up for that shortfall by taking it from the members in that budget expense line, or the bad debt expense line. We're not giving it back to the members when we collect it. It's just going into the operating budget, and it costs the membership for the bad debt, but they don't get the benefit of the monies collected that cover that bad debt.
And bad debt is an uncomfortable thing for corporations.
Sure.
We do address it correctly here. Obviously, our audits the last 3 years are GAAP conforming. We have a certified CPA that does those for us, and I will print the letter and I'll have copies available and explain your questions.
But couldn't we approach it from we're going to still maintain accounting of our bad debt, and we're going to still collect on the bad debt. It does not have to be part of the operating budget, is what I'm saying.
Well, and that's definitely a question we can form with him, and I think once we get to the auditor's questions, we can ask him that. That's a good point, because we have been taxing the owners. It's $9,000 a month currently to fund the doubtful account, which has about $240,000 in it. Our current bad debt is $236,000, which we're complying with GAAP by having a fully funded account.
Right.
So,
but how much have we collected off of bad debt this year? About 250, right?
That's exactly what the records show, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick. Brian will make
I'll
a
find that
copy of
email and
that.
I'll print it out for anybody interested who want to read the auditor's official statement on that.
Thank you. Thank you. And we will go to the manager's report. Thank you.
All right, awesome. We'll go right back to financials. We did have our finance meeting this week. Page 17 did show all the detail for the operating units and their performance to budget. The variance is $111,975 for all departments, and anybody kind of following that closely will be like, wow, there's a big change there. We have to note, due to ATP and Jonas issues, the payroll amounts are not in the FCC packet, so you have to be aware of that, and we've supplied the actual payroll for October. That has to be journaled entry into the October financials. So that being said, there'll be $108,000 added to the October consolidated income statements for each department, and that shows a total of $220,810. And if anybody has the GM report from last month, the variance was $227. So it decreased by $7,000. It's a small positive gain. But what's noteworthy is the revenue centers for the club were not open in October during the overseed process. The November weekly flash reports obviously are showing significant budget gains. Golf has been active, and so is food and beverage. So we hope to improve this deficit year to date. Just looking at it briefly, food and beverage, $105,000 better than budget. Golf shops, $54K behind budget. GCM is $9,000 over forecast, and the clubhouse maintenance is at budget. There's a $47 variance, but not bad through 10 months of work. Those department details will change once we journal entry in the payrolls to those department expense lines. But when you look at that variance, that $220,810, there's some key points for everybody to talk about. The seed was $123,000 more than budget. Water pumping and electric, $99,000 out of budget. And out of budget security costs for having security on the streets, which we needed and a lot of people supported, but they do come at a cost. This is a total of $275,000 of out of budget expenses, and it directly influences the year-to-date results in the 2021 operating budget. So those three key factors, we felt it was important for everybody to know what the drivers are, the key performance indicators on expenses. COVID-19, as everybody's probably aware, OSHA did come out with some new mandates. Employers with more than 100 employees may request staff to be vaccinated to work. MLCC has 56 employees and is wearing masks for owner and workplace protection. The County of Riverside self-attestation program, removing your mask inside, confirms that you've been vaccinated. The current self-attestation program is on the honor system. Please consider these guidelines when entering any of the clubhouse facilities. Food and beverage happenings. The Thanksgiving feast has been well received. We have 128 participants with reservations. As the holidays inch closer, please watch for media for the member Christmas party and the New Year's Eve celebration. Those are almost done. The problem we're having with those is the volatile pricing for the better quality meats and fishes like lobster and shrimp like that. So keep your eyes aware for that. And since the New Year's Eve party is so popular here, I am going to send an email blast out the day before saying that we are going to blast media for the reservations for the New Year's Eve party. So it'll give everybody kind of a day to get ready before we send that out, because it will fill up pretty quick. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll move on to ACC. Jim Nelson.
Yes, Hall Bailey has a report. Hello. Hello. The ACC met on Monday, November 15th, and dealt with three major issues, two of which were requests for action by the board. And on all three issues, the votes were unanimous. The first issue has to do with a change in the architectural landscaping guidelines, and it's related to additional residential accommodations, which are also known as accessory dwelling units or junior accessory dwelling units. I'm not going to read it because you all have copies of it, and I'm assuming you have to read it before you vote on it. What it does is it brings MLCC into compliance with not only the state law, but also the county ordinances. It's a minimalist approach. There are other things that MLCC can do, but we have to do at least this much in order to be on paper in compliance. That's up for a board vote. The ACC voted unanimously that the board approve it. The second item is the ACC recommends to the board the approval of an insertion in the rules and regulations related to covering of all temporary rolling bins and dumpsters. This was drafted originally by the board liaison. He has personal experience with it as in his work. It was considered and done a little editing by the ACC and unanimously recommended to the board for approval. Again, I won't read it because you're going to read it later. And then the third issue has to do with the committee voting unanimously not to reconsider its October recommendation to the board regarding a variance. Now, in 2 hours and 11 minutes, I get to say something once a year in my house. And it is very esoteric, so probably none of you are going to know what it is. Osby bites. It's the big game, Cal Stanford.
I'm taking that hatchet back.
You jinxed yourself.
Yeah, I see.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Next is the Condominium Association. Kathleen Bauer, I think, is out of town. She did not respond to my email. And so we'll look forward to maybe having a condo report in January. So, Finance and Credit Committee, Bill?
I move to approve checks over 1,000 from operations and reserve accounts for October of 2021.
Second?
Second.
Jim? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
I move to approve the finance and credit reports for October 2021.
Second? All those in favor? Opposed? No.
I'm an aye.
Sorry.
Before we discuss the operating budget approval, I'd like to explain the process. Each year in late July and the 1st of August, our finance team gets together and starts working on the budget. And we look at a lot of documents that were previously developed for 2018, 2019, 2020, the 2021 actuals and forecasts, and that's the substance that we get. We get initially we get a budget that is drawn up with, as I said before, with no blindfolds on. It's basically what each manager thinks that they would like to spend in their department, without, like I say, without constraints. So this year we were lucky enough to have we have 3 board members that serve on the finance committee as a matter of policy, but we had 3 other members on our committee that had served on the board as well. And others have not only served on the board, but others have also served on other committees and the finance committee, and have been chairs. And we had another individual who I don't believe has been on any committees, but he was a CEO and president of a pretty large corporation. So we have a lot of skill sets. And in addition to that, we had a significant amount of input from our guests, including Rick and Jack and several others that came to the meetings, and we talked about a lot of things. And with that, Rick, the reason that we went to our council there for the finance was because of your input. And we all look at one another and say, there's got to be something here that we can do to put that money back in the coffers. And so that was the result of Brian's email as a result of that request. And it's not over yet. So we're still working on that. But thank you very much for that. We started this process in end of July, early August, and we were faced, when we did the pro forma, we were faced with a $76 per month increase. And boy, intuitively, we thought about whether we were going to get shot or if we were going to sell our houses before everybody else did. But no, in reality, we worked on this thing for 3 months. We had a meeting a week and sometimes 2 meetings a week. There were endless hours of homework. I can't tell you. We sent the budget back to Brian and his managers twice because we were into the thick of things, and for us to chop away at some of the budgets that were presented didn't make any sense because we might be affecting the effectiveness of that particular department. So we sent it back and asked Brian twice to dive in and take a deeper COVID look because this is a very, very tough year. So the committee ended up removing just a tad over $400,000 worth of cost and expense. And I'll say that it's not only removing expense, but it's also improving our revenue. So the end result was roughly $400,000. With that, we reduced the dues from $76 per month increase to $35 per month increase. And that is the proposal for, I wish to approve for and move that we approve the finance or the 2022 operating budget and reserve spending.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
2 seconds.
Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Bill, for all your and your committee's hard work in getting us down there to that acceptable figure. Thank you.
I'd like to make a couple I'd like to make one correction and then some comments. In our last board meeting, I made a comment and I broke the rule. It's never to throw numbers out when you when you're speaking because it might be misunderstood, and that's exactly what happened. What I said in the meeting was the cost of the new pump station will be well over $100,000 and more, and that means different things to different people. And I just wanted people to understand the cost severity of that pump station and that it wasn't small change. So I would like to apologize for any misunderstandings. The actual cost of the pump station we believe will be between $350,000 and $500,000. So that's the actual numbers. In addition, I felt compelled. Our group worked hard. I mean, hard, hours and hours and hours. So there was a couple comments made in the member comments section last month that I didn't think was fair. One was the treasurer took away the salaries and budget and wages from the budget process. In reality, the board of directors has been working on several initiatives to try to improve the business climate, if you will, of Mission Lakes Country Club with our employees. And one of the things that we've had lots of issues with is that members coming up and making comments to employees about their wages, and they're not, you're not worth it or whatever. And it isn't it isn't a good idea that happens. So there are also new laws affecting privacy, and with all of those in mind, we just thought it wasn't in the best interest for our employees that the membership would know and have a copy of what an employee makes, how much they make per hour or how much they make per month, and how much they're putting in their 401k program, or what their deductibles are and what their health care choices are. Those are private issues. And so, and also, the approval of wages for performance of individuals that the Finance Committee really has no idea how can we possibly in good mind suggest a certain wage for every single employee. So with that in mind, we did decide, and I said, okay, we might as well do this. Let's try to bring out the individual wages from the packets. We still will provide the total wages for the and total salaries and from the department on the budget, so we'll be able to look at that. So we did that, and it was with the help of the committee that we decided we don't want to give up the responsibility that we all promised the membership for looking after the total budget. It's our responsibility to be fiscally responsible to the membership, and that includes salaries and wages. So what we did then was we stopped and we pulled the budget back to the board, and the board went through and put in hourly and salary adjustments based on their performance, based on when they last got raises, based on the consumer price index, based on a number of things, and made those adjustments. Those adjustments then were given back to the board, to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee reviewed that, and also they saw the wages, we got the final pro forma, and we voted on it, and that's how it was passed forward. So that's a long story, but I think it needed to be explained in detail. That no one's trying to hide anything from anyone. We're just trying to protect our employees. And the other thing was we're going to end up this year with $100,000 to $180,000 in the hole. Again, in reality, we're probably going to be about $100,000 short. Brian just talked about we're in essence $250-some thousand short due to $123,000 in the seed bill. We didn't plan on that. We didn't plan on the $99,000 extra that we've been spending on pumping and electricity, on the water and electricity, or the $53,000 we spent for the extra security. We didn't plan on having increases in a number of areas, including insurance and services to clubs. So yes, it's going to be about $100,000. And what we will do at the end of the year, if it's $100,000, we will do as we've done before. We will borrow from the reserve. We'll pay it back in 2022. Okay? They paid $20,000 in bonuses, and we had no money. Okay, it was before my time. I'll just say that. But no, in actuality, what happened in 2020? There was a budget for $20,000 in bonuses for the 2020 year, and that is, if you remember, that was a COVID year, and we had a lot of employees that were working awfully hard. We want to make sure they were retained, and so they were given bonuses, and that's where that $20,000 was spent, and it was spent in 2021, but it was based on 2020 performance. And lastly, this committee took out all the budgets out of the budget, so there's no budgeted bonuses for next year. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. For explaining all that. Thank you. And we'll move on to the golf committee.
This is just another reminder, because we do have people that question what is going on or what's the difference between an MGA, WGA event and a Mission Lake sponsored event. Tomorrow is the couples tournament, and that is a Mission Lakes, better known as the Golf Shop event. And it's open to any member that has an established handicap. To play in a WGA or an MGA tournament, you have to be a member of that respective organization. For the women, it is $70 a year, and for the men, it's $85 a year. Then you're allowed to play in those specific events. Two coming up are the men's member in December, the first weekend, and 2 weeks later will be the women's member. Those are specific MGA, WGA events. Again, tomorrow it's open to anybody with a handicap. So please, things like club championship, senior club championship, and President's Cup are all WGA, MGA events. During the summer, we had a combined MGA, WGA monthly tournaments. Those are specific for those respective organizations. If you have any questions on this, please contact either George Azevedo or myself or any of the board members, including Peggy sits on the board, you sit on the board, Andy, so people are out there and they can answer those questions for you. The Memorial Tournament was a great success, and thanks to David Goldstein and his staff for putting on the event that brought us over 110 players. An email was sent out to everyone, and this will be your last chance, right? In terms of, if you have a loved one that you have a photo of, Andy Carney is putting together a great memorial poster of sorts. Posters, yes. And we've received, and that email went out, and we've received a couple already. So if you have anyone that you would like, please contact either Andy or myself, and we'll make sure that those are on there. It's a new tradition we would like to start. Again, I'll mention the MGA member is the weekend of December 2nd, and the women's is the 18th and the 19th. So we're kind of having the morning shotguns will be definitely filled with ladies and men in their respective dates. And so the afternoon will be open up to the regular members. The golf committee will begin working sometime after the first of the year on the 2022-2023, I can barely say that, global calendar. So stay tuned for that, and we hope to have it to the board by the end of March. Again.
Thank you, Shelley. Green Committee? Andy?
Typed up this nice report, printed it out, got my glasses. I can manage.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can manage, yeah. I don't really need a type report anyway. One of the final projects that was accomplished in our work through the summer and into overseeding was, I hope you consider it an improvement to the number 6 green. If you haven't played and haven't noticed, we've expanded the top tier, the back tier of number 6. It's much more playable. I played it yesterday, and it was the first time I'd seen the blue tee out there was yesterday. I think that was the start of it, and it was very, very much more playable. Yeah, it was really a big improvement. Raphael did that in-house. They had to wait till towards the end of overseeding to do it because the bent grass that we put into expand the green had to have a little bit cooler weather to survive. So I think it came out pretty good. I talked last month about the conditions of the golf course, and we have a general plan set to start in early spring to try to improve our base Bermuda grass so we can have a thicker, more playable surface in the summertime that is all Bermuda and not a combination of invasive grasses and rye grass that survive because we overwater it and that sort of thing. So it's going to be tough. We'll be able to communicate the exact details by early in February. We hope to start sometime in early spring. And when Raphael starts with the chemical treatments, be a combination of eliminating some grasses, suppressing other grasses, and then later on in the late spring, the aggressive fertilization and aeration of the fairways to get the root system for the Bermuda grass that we know is there to start reacting and coming back as normal. The course may be in tough shape for a while. We just have to live through it in order to get that Bermuda back. We've talked about the pump station a few times already. The thing to bear in mind about the pump station, if we can get this done, is that we will have more powerful pumps, more efficient pumps,
they will be able to support the water getting up to the hill better. And what we'll do is close that window that we now have of watering from 8-9 hours a night down to possibly 4 or 5 hours. We can put much more water on the golf course in a smaller amount of time, and it costs us less money in doing so because of the efficiencies. Excuse me.
Oh, but he's got one. Thank you. Oh, not getting you something. Okay. You can't talk. Nice try.
Thank you all. It's this beautiful weather we're having, really. It's been so nice, I hate to even talk about it because it's going to go away on us here one of these days. Go ahead. So Raphael's setting up meetings with contractors to come and look at our situation at the pump house and start putting together specifications to get some decent bids. But what we've heard so far is that it is between that $350,000 to $500,000 range that we're probably looking at. It's a very, very important project, and something happens to that golf course or to that pump station, we risk losing the golf course. We hope to have an opportunity to meet with the board in December, even though there's not a scheduled meeting, in order to get the process started, because the ideal time frame to do the project is in the January-February period. With the cool weather, we don't have to put as much water on the golf course. The pump station itself is actually built off-site and delivered in modules, and the whole thing can be removed and installed in a matter of about 3 days. So it's really a unique process. We have some plans in place to do other things on the golf course. Again, however, the pump station is the #1 priority. We have a plan in place already for doing the car path work needed on the back 9. Dan Barilli has already put together a preliminary plan for that. We're not going to push that forward at this point, again, because of other major reserve expenses that are coming along. We're talking about the pump station just quickly again. Back in early 2000, I think it was 2004 or 5, we first got notice from Desert Water Agency that we were going to have to start paying a fee for pumping our water out of the ground with our 2 wells. At that time, that fee was $36 per acre foot. An acre foot is an acre a foot deep. That's a lot of water. Currently, that fee is $175 an acre foot. So the more we can do with the efficiency of the pump station, that's a huge expense for us. That's roughly $125,000 to $30,000 a year. So we have an opportunity to cut into that dramatically with this pump station. Yeah.
A couple of questions.
Yeah.
Regarding the cost of the pump station, can we attribute that rather high price, because that's what I think it is, because of what's happening in our economy right now, and getting the parts and labor and everything else to build this thing?
There are some questions as to if we can even get all the stuff necessary at this point, and their pricing, if they give you a price, it's only good for 3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
The other question I have is the sound. Is it going to be kind of like muted now? Because the pump itself?
They'll be more efficient, which I assume will be quieter, and the pump station will be enclosed.
That's good.
Yeah. Right now it's sitting out there in the elements, and it's crazy. Yeah. Anything else?
So I'd like to add a little bit. We've asked Andy to look into potential ways of saving seed and water, and all the hourly costs it takes to manage that. So Andy has taken that on, and there's an ad hoc committee that has formed and is working on we'll call it xeriscape and desertscape and other ways of taking current grass that we have to seed and water and take care of and eliminate that. There's going to be a day, just like the water prices went from $36 to $1.75, $175. There's going to be a day when they say you're watering 156 acres, and you need to cut that by 30 or 40%. So that's what the purpose of this exercise is. So we'll have a plan in place on the shelf, ready to go, should we need to pull the trigger. And so I just thought I'd add that.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that because we don't have any specific plans yet. The committee is identifying those areas that they would qualify as xeriscape, and in some cases it'll be abutting members' properties. So it's going to be a tough pill to swallow, perhaps. But it's right now in Arizona, the limit on turf for a golf course is 88 acres or something.
88 acres.
88 acres. We have 156. A few acres of that are currently in desertscape, but
Just a few.
Okay, thank you, Andy. House Committee, Jim Smitham?
The report for November, the House Committee completed the decorating of the clubhouse for the fall Thanksgiving season. Decorating for the Christmas holiday will begin after Thanksgiving. The in rooms have a new look thanks to James and his fellow employees. Each room has been freshly painted. New drapes have been installed along with quilted bed coverings, and safety grab bars have been installed in all bathrooms as well. Also, James has overseen the completion of the concrete restoration throughout the clubhouse area. The House Committee assisted the Carol Atwood Book Club at the MLCC by selling raffle tickets for the Gingerbread House, with all proceeds going to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. The Grand Gingerbread House will be on display at the clubhouse from December 1st to the 16th, and the drawing will be December 16th during the book club meeting. Raffle tickets are still available by contacting book club members.
Thank you, Jim. The Member Communications Committee, Lacey Love Clausen has resigned from the committee due to time commitments. The Member Communications will not meet in December, and the next meeting will be January 3rd. Thank you. Neighborhood Watch.
We have a new member. I'd like to make a motion that we approve Brian Fortner as a Neighborhood Watch member.
Second.
Second.
Jim Smitham. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nay.
Okay, and unfortunately, our chair is not here, who actually has the report.
Oh.
So that's not going to work on that. But I do know that he has been looking into the sheriff's substation with Kathleen Brower from the condos. We're waiting for some type of a request or something that we can actually look at and make sure that we're not doing anything wrong. And that's something that she has to vote on, I guess, with her constituents down there before she can actually allow us to be able to, or allow a substation to be put down there. So that's one of the things that we're waiting on from that. As far as anything else, speed bumps and things like that, he is looking into that. As far as the camera system, Mr. Fortner brought in a flock camera system and was quite interesting as far as just putting a couple of around on the main thoroughfares. They do have the ability to read license plates, and so the good thing there is that we know who's driving around at 2 a.m. and in our community. So that's something that we're looking into. Pretty much anybody who'd like to attend our meetings, that will be posted. Be great. You can get a little bit more insight as to what's going on. He also is working with the Sheriff's Department and our local, our Southwest Security to find out any incident reports and find out where they're located, so we know kind of where our hotspots are as well. So these are things that they've been working on, and the cops also will be giving us their reports too, so we know what's happening.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I do have a COPS report from Larry Caravue. He had 8 COP persons driving 102 hours in the month of October, 431 miles they traveled. On 10/16/22, house door on Doral was found ajar by Judy Grant walking her dog, not her dog, somebody's dog. Called Captain Larry. He had a patrol guy investigate. Owners were out of state. Apparently nothing was taken and no further report. On 10/31/21, Halloween night went very well. No incidents. Most popular street was Spyglass. Most all kids were going by 9 o'clock at night. Very few garages found open. Members are being more careful. And Larry has 3 new applications for the COP program in the works with the Sheriff's Department. Have another 3 that might be interested. And that's Larry's report for today. Thank you. Let's see. Pool and Rec Committee. David?
Yep, I have a report. The craft fair was held on the 7th and was a great success. They had 20 paid vendors that enjoyed a great turnout of attendees. And the vendors reported their sales.
Hold on a minute, David. Can you hold on a
Yes,
minute and start again? They can't hear you. Hold on. Okay.
Ready? Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the craft fair was held on November the 7th and was very successful. They had 20 paid vendors that had great turnout with attendees. Many vendors reported it was the best sales crowd in several years. Thanks to Holly King, who managed the process, Carol Long, Bethany Smith, and all the pool and rec committee members who assisted. A good job done by everyone. Received the final stamped plans from Riverside County for the ADA bathroom project, finally. And we'll be proceeding with our contractor selection process. Jason Coven has a number of vendors that he'll be contacted to start this. Pool and Rec Committee is planning for another home decorating contest at Christmas 2021, with prizes for the different categories. Last year's event, of course, was canceled due to COVID. Additional details will be coming out to the membership within the next week. That's it. Thank you. And hope Eddie's feeling okay, Freddie.
Thank you. He's doing well. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Old business. Last month we mentioned the Mission Springs Water District and having members volunteer to attend those meetings regarding the sewer system. We had 4 members come forth and they will be reporting to the board once, I'm not sure when the meetings are going to start, but they are only Zooming. You cannot go to a meeting. So our members that will participate will report to the board once we find out when the meetings are starting, and just so that they remember that we're up here and we'd still eventually like the sewers put in. So we appreciate their volunteering. The member forum was canceled. The board felt they didn't have enough time to prepare, so we're looking at January or February, maybe right before the new elections for 2022. Rules and reg change that Hall alluded to. Do we have that to read? Just the card.
So this will be posted. We need to post it for 30 days so members can look at it. So it will be voted by the board at our next meeting. So the additional residential accommodations. Additional residential accommodations, also known as accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units, hereafter ARAs, shall comply with the Riverside County Additional Residential Accommodations Ordinance. In addition, the elevation of the ARA must be consistent with the existing elevation of the existing residential unit lot, and the color of the ARA must comply with the association adopted color palette and be consistent with the color palette of the existing residential unit / lot. A violation of the Riverside County Additional Residential Accommodations Ordinance shall be deemed a violation of the association's architectural and landscape guidelines.
As Peggy said, that will be posted for 30 days, but we will not be voting on that until January at our next meeting. Wendy, did you have a question?
Can you repeat that in English?
Well, it will be on the e-news, and we can make copies for the membership, but I think right now we're required to do that.
It's
All right, so it was originally called additional dwelling unit. It's now being renamed twice, and depends on which jurisdiction you want to talk to, what they call it. The county has its own term, which is what was referenced in the reading of it. The same state law that altered the elections for HOA, or at the same time as the state law that altered the elections, which is why we had to revise our governing documents. At that same time, affordable housing was at the top of the legislative list in the state of California. And one of the things that they did starting January 1st, 2020, was to create a category that superseded local zoning laws in order to increase the ability of property owners to build what used to be called granny flats. I go back way back that far, but they're now called basically this additional affordable additional dwelling units, which means that within your property, given the amount of space that you have, dependent on that, you are allowed to construct, for purposes of adding dwelling units on your property, a structural improvement, which has to be fully coded based on utilities, but not necessarily fitting within the old zoning rules of the local jurisdiction. So it becomes an exception, essentially, to what is permitted to be built on a property. In 99% of the cases, it's an additional unit on an already improved, structurally improved property. This is what we're facing to be minimally compliant with the county and state laws. I apologize for walking in late. I heard a reference to 4 persons.
No, that's something else.
Oh, okay, all right. So I want to make sure that the wording is quite specific, and it's right out of state code and county ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Thank you. That's it. Yeah, thank you.
And we will put that notice out if we can in the e-news so that members are aware of this. So, thank you. The covered dumpsters.
Yeah. We also will be posting for 30 days for the review of the membership. The ACC committee unanimously recommended that the board to approve the following mandate to be inserted into the rules and regulations. All temporary roll-off bins used for the purpose of containing trash and debris used in the construction, rehabilitation, or cleanup of any property in MLCC will be covered with a tarp or something equivalent to retain said debris and trash. The cover can be removed from the bin while in use during MLCC working hours.
Next, Inspector of Elections. As you all know, we have an election coming up in March, and last month we put out the flyer on what we have to do in order to follow the law for our election. So for Inspector of Elections, I have Miss Shelley Daly and Miss Laura Troca that will be our Inspector of Elections for March 2022. And thank you for volunteering with me pushing.
Let me see, my arm was held high up like that.
Yeah. The real vote.
Okay, food and beverage minimum, Brian?
Sure. Last year we had some success. We started advertising in June. We drafted a food and beverage minimum transfer form which was an agreement between an owner and whoever they chose to transfer the charging privileges to their account for food and beverage charges. The form did not allow for alcohol to be charged against the food minimum. It was a fairly simple form. We'd like to have that for the 21-22 food and beverage minimum season. So we've asked the board to support that as an operational document to get started ASAP with.
Thank you, Brian.
Lien delinquent list, we have no one. And we will have a short executive session immediately following this. Please note that we are not having a board meeting in December, and the next meeting will be January 29th in the new year. And do I have to pick a number?
Any number.
Oh, sure.
One, probably 20.
No, we did an operation. No. I adjourn the meeting at 2:29. 1 through 17?
1 and 17.
1 through 17.
There's 17. Okay, 9.
All daily.
And the meeting is adjourned at 2:30.
Yeah, right.
And I'll contact her. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Apparently it's a short meeting. Yeah, maybe home by tomorrow.
Yeah. If not, call me if you have anything left over to drink. How's that?